Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. I'm Susan Barancini-Mo. Joining me today is TwoQuestions.tv favorite and regular Robert Thomas Bethel, the orchestrator of 77 business turnarounds over the past 50 years. He's turned around companies in many, many industries and has helped save over 10,000 jobs. I bet it's more now because I've been using the same introduction for a while. Anyway, all of this as a result of his strategic business counsel. He's also the author of this book, Strengthen Your Business, Failproof Strategies from the Man Who's Rescued 77 Businesses. I think it was 79 the last time we talked. Hi, Bob. Welcome to the show. It's 79 now, isn't it?
Yes.
What do you do about the book title?
Pushing towards 100.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to change the cover of your book.
Boy, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Shoot, they're already printed.
Yeah. We can always put a new cover on it, though, Susan.
That's true. That's right. Well, welcome back. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy your show.
I always enjoy you being a guest on my show as we drink from our delightful mugs.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob, you know, every time I think about you, I think about character. And because I know you are a person of great character.
Are you saying I'm a character?
Well, you're a character, yes. But you know, I think about the character of leadership. And so I thought today we might chat about that. So do you think that leaders are born or made? And how does one become such a great leader? Well,
first of all, yes, I think they are definitely made. I don't think that anyone is born with the traits necessary to be a good leader. Mm-hmm. I attribute my education in leadership primarily to reading, Susan, because first of all, I'm a history nut, but I started at a very early age reading about great men and women, their achievements, their failures, how they dealt with those things. And I think it was really invaluable. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'm somewhat of a dinosaur age-wise, but two of the people that I have read everything I could put my hands on was Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Churchill. Mm-hmm. Reason being, in most probability, the two of them saved civilization as we know it during World War II. Mm. But if you look at their backgrounds, Winston Churchill was a short, fat, chubby little Englishman who stuttered as a young child. And yet he not only led England, but he helped to lead the United States and the rest of the British colonies at a time, if you look at the beginning of World War II, it really looked grim. Then you take Franklin Roosevelt, was a cripple by polio. Mm-hmm. He was in a wheelchair. So if you look at the two of them, they are both very unlikely great leaders, and yet reading the history of those times, their character withstood the greatest military threat the world's ever seen. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I like that you referenced them because in this day and age, I've heard many people say this, in this day and age of social media and everything being visible, a lot of people have said neither of them would be leaders today. And I'm not so sure if that's true, but how did they become such good leaders? And what can we extrapolate from that to help people become more effective leaders in business?
Well, first of all, I think they would still, I think the two of them would thrive on social media because if you look, it was, as Churchill said, that because he was called the Lion of England, he said, the people of England are the lion, I'm just the roar. And if you look at his speeches, they definitely encouraged and gave confidence to the entire free world. Roosevelt, in fact, really became famous during the war for his fireside chats.
Yes.
So if you look, they would have thrived on social media.
That is a great point. A great point.
But I think a problem that I have seen with all of the businesses that I've gone into and those that I have chosen for whatever reason not to go into is a lack of leadership on the part of the owners because they weren't honest with themselves.
Oh.
And if you're not honest with yourself, you certainly can't be honest with other people. They lived a pipe dream. They weren't truthful to their people about the condition of the company. They weren't truthful to themselves about their strengths and their weaknesses. They weren't truthful about things they didn't know about business. And instead they huffed and puffed and it's very difficult, but people see through you. People see, regardless of your vocabulary and your education and how much money you have. We have a good example of that today in our political world. People are going to see through that. So you've got to be real with yourself in order to be real with the people that you're attempting to lead. And there's just, I see way too much. I have no problem in accepting my weaknesses. I do not want yes people around me. I don't need to be pumped up. I want people who are honest and sincere, that want to do a good job, and I want to give them all of the tools they need to be successful. And I don't mind being wrong. I think anyone who reads my book will see that each and every time, and I've gone into 29 different industries. And when I went into the first of those industries, I didn't know anything about it. So I wasn't going to blow smoke at people and act like I did. Instead, I did just the opposite, because I've said this to you before, I am the most brilliant person you will ever interview at knowing exactly how dumb I am. Okay? And that is one of my greatest strengths, is because when I go into a new industry, I get online, I get industry trade publications, and I find out who is the very best in that industry. And if I were going to start a TV podcast, I would sure trace you down and give you a call. Now, you might think that I don't get those calls returned from the leaders of an industry that I am a competitor in. You'd think, I'm not going to call him. 52 years, I've had that phone call returned every single time. And every single time it's been returned, I have asked those CEOs those leaders of, and I'm talking about Westinghouse Electric, chairman of the board. I rode from Richmond, Virginia to Pittsburgh on his private plane one night with him, and got to spend all of that time asking him leadership questions. Invaluable, okay?
Yeah.
T. Boone Pickens and I are friends. T. Boone wrote the foreword for my book. Being able to pick his brain while he and I both were working in Scotland, offshore in the North Sea, was invaluable. So I know that. So I called those people and I asked them, can I come see them for 15 minutes?
Is that the key? Is that because here's something interesting, and I was going to tell you about this later. I told you nobody cares about this part, but I'm because I said I want to tell you something that's been happening, and
Good.
You said, well, we can talk about it on the show.
Good.
And I said nobody cares what's going on with me.
Sure, they do.
But well, the show's for me to interview you, but but I want to push back on something because or probe a little bit here because I've been doing a little market research about a project I'm doing. And so I've reached out to what I think are the appropriate people at a number of large corporations. And I've reached out primarily by email, and I can't get anybody to respond to me. And it's not, I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying, hey, I'd love to just have like a 15-minute chat with you about this thing. And so I'm
using the wrong word, Susan.
Yes.
You first of all, don't use email, call. Number two,
yes.
don't ask the chat. Tell them they need advice. I would imagine the majority of the people that you are calling are men.
No women actually, but okay, keep
well,
going.
That could be part of your problem then, because men are so egotistical that if they were running for a plane and you ran up beside them and said, could you give me some advice? They would stop running and tell you how brilliant they are. And yes, they certainly have advice to give. Now, women, not so much. They're just not as egotistical. But don't ask to chat, ask for advice. Okay.
All right. I love that. See, that is an interesting thing to me, that sometimes the difference between something working versus something not is a subtle nuance of language.
It is.
That's fascinating to me.
Yes. And I can't tell you, and by and large, the vast majority of them are men, and you will see, and you have seen in my book, that one of the first things I do in taking over a company is starting to put women in the highest position in the company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it's true. I've done it. I had a very strong-willed, intelligent grandmother and mother, and women are more detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Women do not have men's ego. They don't get caught up in the old boys club of cover your butt. They are honest. They call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I heard a comedian not long ago talking about how horrible women were with their truthfulness. He was in a sunglasses shop, and a guy put on a pair of sunglasses and turned to his wife and said, how do they look? She said, they look great. Now you need to get your teeth fixed. So there you are.
Well, we are honest with our husbands. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So try asking for advice.
I will do that. Do that. And I will let you know how it goes.
Good. I want to know.
Or maybe I won't, because I'll be too, I'm just kidding. I'll be too busy talking to all these people. No, I'm kidding. I'm never too busy for you.
Exactly.
Well, Bob, it is always a joy to have you on the show. Where can people find you?
They can find me on robertthomasbethel.com, or they don't have to do that. They can get on Amazon and buy the book.
Yes, and we'll have both those links in the show notes for today. That's down there. Excellent. All
Great.
right. Well, thank you.
And let me say this, everything you and I have talked about on your shows is covered in detail in the book.
Really is.
It is based on 52 years of experience taking companies that were in terrible shape and making them profitable. I'll say again, I take 5% of the credit. 95% goes to the team that was there when I came there.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be a benefit not only for people getting ready to go into business, but those that already are. The reason for the book is I think that it's really stupid that 50% of all businesses fail unnecessarily.
Right?
It's horrible.
Horrible. I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And you know, this book stays on my desk all the time. All the
Good.
time. I keep it on my, it's reference, and it's on my list of top 10 business books, period.
Well, aren't you sweet? Thank you so
No,
much.
it is. It is, because there's so much
I
wisdom.
always enjoy your show. It's insightful, and I think your topics are extremely important.
Thank you. Well, I enjoy having you on the show. I'm assuming you'll come back.
Every time you ask me, and if you don't
Yay!
ask me, I'll ask you.
All right. That's a good deal. I like it. All right. All right.
Very good.
Viewers, like I said, we'll have those links in the show notes for today. Here is the book. Make sure you get your copy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.